Hey kids, happy Thanksgiving, all that good shit. Gonna talk about some more auction stuff. But first, in the background is Hidden History of the Human Race by Blood Incantation. This is the gatefold edition, I guess you want to call it. This album's getting a ton of hype right now. Decibel named it Album of the Year. I've listened to it about 5 times. Very cool poster. Some sci-fi artist drew this, by the way. There's a lot to absorb here for me. So it's not my album of the year just yet, but I'm giving it a chance. This is my about third or fourth time listening to side B, which I think is made up of 4 parts. It's 1 song and 4 parts. And the first side has 3 songs on it. It's good. You can tell these guys know their instruments very well. There's some lyrics and live shot. But it's just not sticking with me yet, and I don't know if I just need more time with it, is my guess. Comes with this cool Stargate Research Society presents a meditative inquiry on the mystery and nature of human consciousness as revealed by Blood Incantation. I've been reading, they did a lot of, I think before they went into record this, they all spent time in one of these deprivation tanks, where you, I don't know if you don't know what that is, you kind of lay in some Epsom salt and water, and you're blocked off from all of your senses, basically. And you kind of drift off into a state of relaxation. So yeah, I like what I hear. I'm not hearing Album of the Year just yet, but I can tell it's going to be one of those I'm going to have to sit down with and pay attention to. So let's jump into the auction. First up, we have some yellow vinyl by the band Time in Malta. This is Identify, Persist, Transcend. At least that's what it says on the record. This is actually says side A is Dissolve, side B is an F and G. I had a CD of these guys a long time ago. Kind of a hardcore 3-piece band out of San Francisco. I'll have to dig back into these guys and see what's what. Next up is Everyday Dollars, and if that cover looks weird to you, it's a 3D cover, and you get the glasses with it. This is out of 100. These guys were a hardcore band too. A389 Records Recordings, I think, is now defunct, unfortunately, but they always put out a lot of good stuff. So I will check out Everyday Dollars. I remember the name. I remember that logo there, but pretty cool. You get the glasses with it too. Probably hard to find. This says, and that was looks like also, if you want to see it, if I can find you how to open this damn thing. That is a white vinyl. Malibu Barbie, Ain't Life Swell. This is, according to this, girl punk rock. Whatever that means. It's pink. I like the cover. Looks like a end of tour shot there. Know nothing about this. Came out in 1992 on Harp Records out of San Francisco. No idea. We'll check it out though. Naja. I have heard of these guys. So it came out on Anthem Records. These guys, an album I had of theirs, I think it was them. It was a cover album. They did like a weird noise version of Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue. This says it's based on a song written by Paul Bellini from The Kids in the Hall from the film Brain Candy. Not familiar, but anxious to check that out. Crivets, back with a message. based on the cover and the X on his hand and the X on the back here and the Unity and the blah. I'm gonna guess this is straight edge hardcore. I'm not familiar with this band. Looks like the label is out of Germany, and the band's from Holland. Not a huge, it's white vinyl. Some straight edge hardcore. If you don't know, back at straight edge is, don't drink, don't do drugs, don't have premarital sex, which is, all fine and good if that's your thing. But back in the day, especially like at Earth Crisis shows and stuff, people were pretty vigilant about that shit. Nadja, by the way, was red vinyl. I'd heard of people, a lot of times, I remember seeing Earth Crisis open for Sepultura, and the metal, your typical metal crowd and your typical straight edge crowd are typically different. Straight edge people are against certain things. Metal fans typically are not, if you catch my drift, as far as drinking and drugs go. Fights would break out, Earth Crisis fans would get pissed about people smoking and drinking, and then metal fans would get pissed at Earth Crisis fans for not drinking and smoking. It's really silly. But hey, that's what happens when you try to mix two different crowds like that. But I think it all worked out in the end. I'm not sure how big straight edge is anymore. I'm sure it's still, I know some people that are straight edge, but next up, Dirty Rotten Imbeciles. Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, better known as D.R.I, Violent Pacification. Red vinyl. This appears to be a reissue. This is on Beer City Records. I think they're out of Wisconsin, maybe? Cool insides there. D.R.I, speaking of fights with metalheads, they were one of the first crossover bands, if not the first, where the hardcore kids and the metal kids would go to shows and fight each other as well. A lot of infighting in metal. Kind of silly now that I look back on it, but when I was younger, I was probably part of the fuck the straight edge and the hardcore people, but I grew up eventually. Speaking of straight edge, here's another one, standard issue. As we grow, you can see the back of the shirt there. Drug-free life. I've never researched what the black X on the hands means, but another straight edge band. The music's always really good, and I didn't know if I showed this clear vinyl, but the message just doesn't do much for me. I just can't relate, but if that's your thing, go for it. Futon, pink vinyl. I Want to Be Your Dog. That's a Iggy and Stooges song, but I'm not familiar with this band. We'll gladly check that cover out. What is this? Crass. This is a 7-inch flexi disc. If you can see there, it's like a piece of paper. If you don't know what a flexi disc is. If you're a subscriber of Decibel Magazine, you get a flexi disc with your issue every month. Pretty cool. Crass was a kind of a political band in the UK, I believe, if this is the same Crass. Some of their stuff got kind of experimental at the time that I discovered them. It really wasn't my thing, so I might give that another listen. This looks like Fallout and The Enemy. Appears to be a split, or is it just Fallout Records? So it's The Enemy on blue vinyl. And it's got 3 songs: Punks Alive, Piccadilly Sidetracks, and Twist and Turn. They're all written by different people, it looks like, so I don't know if those are covers or what. Spizinergy, Where's Captain Kirk? No idea who these chaps are. Black vinyl. Came out in 1979. Looks like a label based out of London. Based on the cover on the back here, I'm guessing some kind of punk / new wave stuff maybe. So I like discovering new music, so this is gonna be fun. I just can't be happy today by The Damned. Very familiar with The Damned. This came out in 79, 80, I think, on Chiswick Records. Anxious to hear that. $9.99. Not sure if that's the band name or what. I'm Alive. Quite disappointing. Black vinyl, nothing to see there. Not much on here. Talking about who this is, but band is 999, so 666 upside down. The Stranglers, 96 Tears, with instead of this on the back. I've heard of the Stranglers a lot. They're on Epic, which was kind of a big label back in 1990 when this came out. I think they were punk / garage rock. I know I hear them on Sirius XM sometimes, I believe, on the, I think it's the Underground Garage. I think that's what it's called. Here's another one, Always the Sun, another Stranglers, 45. Curious to check these out. Got a couple more here to get through. Levelers, Fantasy. This is a picture disc. Pretty cool. No idea who they are. Special limited edition picture disc. Fantasy, Sarah's Beach, and Searchlights. No idea. This band I'm very familiar with. This is Machine Parts +4. This is Brutal Truth. Came out on Bones Brigade Records. Brutal Truth, if you're not familiar with, also on clear vinyl, you should be if you're into metal. I'm going to be doing another Desert Island video one of these days, and Need to Control by Brutal Truth is on my list. You probably know Danny Lilker, I believe is his last name. He was in Stormtroopers of Death, SOD, Brutal Truth. He was in Nuclear Assault. What other bands? Well, he's been in a bunch of bands. He's just kind of one of those guys that plays bass anywhere and everywhere. Has been at it for decades. So a lot of respect there. It looks like this came out in 95. Kevin Sharp's been in some other bands. He's the singer. Rich, what's his name? Damn it, I can't remember his last name. He's been in some other bands as well. Great drummer. Excuse me. But everything Brutal Truth has done has been great. When you hear about classic grindcore bands, these guys, unfortunately, I don't think get enough credit. You always hear about Napalm Death and, bands like that, which granted those guys kind of started it, but these guys were heavily influenced by that stuff, and they're up there as some of the best. So if you can, I'll put some links below to some cool Brutal Truth stuff. Hopefully you can start to discover them yourself if you're not familiar. And last but not least, I know this face, as you all, if you're a metalhead, that is King Diamond, except he was also in a band called Merciful Fate. If you don't know, it's right there. And the songs on here are Black Masses and Black Funeral, which I'm pretty sure are Merciful Fate songs. I don't know when this came out or why he's only on the cover. It came out on Megaforce Records, which I don't think ever released any Merciful Fate stuff, so this is kind of weird. I don't know if this is like a cash grab thing or what at the time, but still a pretty cool disc. I might put that up for a display here in my office somewhere or something. So very cool record. But that is it for this edition. It'd be cool if I could just do all my videos like this, pretend King Diamond is doing it. But yeah, still trying to absorb this Bloody Incantation. Let me know what you think below. The internet is ablaze with everyone jizzing about this record. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, which is part of the fun of exploring the music. So hopefully you found some new music in the links below, and with some of these cool 45s. And I've got about another 3 or 4 batches at least of these. So thanks for checking this out, guys, and hope you all had a good holiday, and I'll catch you next time.